So what's up with soy and breast cancer? Does soy lead to the development or growth of breast cancer? I have a friend who's very health conscious who recently survived a round of breast cancer. And her endocrinologist, her cancer doctor, told her to avoid consuming soy products because it was known that soy contributes to the growth of breast cancer cells and breast cancer tumors. Now I thought that sounded kind of strange, so I did what we all do, which is go out on the internet and see what I could see about the latest and greatest on breast cancer research and soy, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. I'm Colleen Marie. This is Create a Great Healthy Life, where we learn about following a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Estrogen, oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard. With the soy in the blood. So let me start with the basics. Breast cancer cells have receptors that oftentimes accept hormones, and some breast cancers have receptors that accept the estrogen, the hormone called estrogen. And when the estrogen connects to the receptor in the breast cancer cell, it does in fact promote the growth of breast cancers. Those breast cancers are called estrogen-sensitive breast cancers. And so doctors treating women who have estrogen-sensitive breast cancer will often prescribe a medication that reduces the estrogen levels in their bodies for just this reason. So where does soy come in? Soy contains an estrogen called phytoestrogen, and in 2011 there was quite a buzz by a study done at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. And in this study they served mice, well, first of all, they put in the mice estrogen-sensitive breast cancer cells. And then they served mice soy. And sure enough, the mice that got the soy, their breast cancer tumors, their tumors grew and grew, I guess, rapidly. I don't really know how fast they grew. Well, that led doctors and researchers to say soy contributes to breast cancer growth. This was in 2011, and since then we have learned quite a number of new things. One of the things is that humans and mice metabolize soy very differently. So for the amount that they gave the mice, the soy in their bodies was the equivalent of 20 to 150 times how much soy would be in the bodies of a human. In other words, it was like serving the mice 58 cups of soy. In other words, way more soy than anyone would or could or should be eating. That's thing one. Thing two, it's very interesting they came to find out, is that the estrogen in soy is phytoestrogen, and the estrogen in the human body is called estradiol. And these are similar but different. The phytoestrogens mimic the estradiol, but they're not the same. And so, going back to those receptors in the breast cancer cells, imagine like a coin slot. You remember, many of us do, right? Like a phone coin slot. And imagine if it normally took a dime, but you shove a nickel in there. Well, you try to shovel a nickel in there, and it might even go through, and the phone doesn't recognize it as a dime. Your phone call isn't going through. But what it does do is it makes it so the next person who's trying desperately to make a phone call and is trying to get their dime in can't get their dime in, and they can't make a phone call. And so that's kind of what's happening here, is that the phytoestrogen comes up and connects into the receptor, but the receptor in the breast cancer cell don't recognize it as estradiol, and so it doesn't promote the growth of the breast cancer cell. But what is happening is that the phytoestrogen is blocking other estradiol estrogens from connecting into that receptor. And so the good news here is that not only does the phytoestrogen not promote breast cancer, it also has a protective effect by blocking estradiol estrogen from coming in. So it's not only it's also preventative. That's really good news. However, there is a catch, and that is you need to be consuming soy in its whole food or very minimally processed forms. So that is edamame. That is the purest form, right out of the shell, or shelled edamame that you can get in the frozen food section. Tofu is considered minimally processed. That's also safe to have. Tempeh, minimally processed, also safe to have. And also miso, minimally processed, safe to have. Where there are concerns, and the research is still out, it sounds like there's really hasn't been very much research done, but there is concern, are the heavily processed soy products. And that would be soy supplements, perhaps maybe soy like protein bars, maybe some powders. So that's one thing to be aware of. Now, how much soy to have? Researchers have a range. Some of the research says 1 to 3 servings. Others say 1 to 3 to 5. Me personally, I shoot for about 1 to 3. I think that sounds pretty darn safe, and I had no problem having 5 servings a day of soy. I think it's great. Actually, there's lots of great benefits to soy. I'm just talking about the relationship of soy and breast cancer today, but there's other wonderful benefits to soy. And I will put into these show notes some sources for this information. Great sources like the American Cancer Society, the Mayo Clinic, research from NIH, all reputable sources and pretty mainstream. It's just sometimes the science and the research doesn't make it all the way to the doctors. Maybe the doctors aren't reading the latest and greatest. It is a little bit disappointing that, in 2024, last year, this doctor was saying this, and this research has all been updated. It's been quite a while now, like since 2017, but that's the reality. So I do hope that you add soy to your whole food plant-based diet. It might be something unusual for you, something that you haven't normally eaten. Try it different ways. You might have had it at a restaurant and not liked it. Try it at home. Try baking it. Try putting it in the frying pan, try crumbling it, try having it fresh or, right out of the fridge. I do that all the time. It's my cheat or easy method. So we can have some recipes about how to use tofu here on this channel if you'd like. Again, my name is Colleen Marie. This is Create a Great Healthy Life, where we follow a whole food plant-based lifestyle so we can create a great life for ourselves and for those around us. Have a great day. I love you. Take care.